Hey everybody, Craig with singlelengthschool.com here, and today is a special little lesson tip. I know I wanted to get to you on Friday, but it's Monday today. So what I want to do with today's tip is actually walk you through what I do with some of my students out on the course. And one of the things I try and stress is how to play each shot. And I've talked in videos past about how to keep your mental game, how to think through the shot. And sometimes the best way to do that is to actually get out on the course and do it. So this video is going to be a little bit longer, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to play a couple holes here and go through the mental process of each shot. What yardage we're looking at, what trouble we have, what distance we're dealing with. So we're actually starting on number 10 here at my home club. And if you can't tell by the sound, we're actually near the road. So with this tee shot, this is a par 4, about 330 yards from the tips. We've got a road and out of bounds to the left, not a lot of room to miss left. On the right, we've got some pine trees, as you can kind of see over my shoulder here. There is room, there's another hole on the other side, so if I put something to the right, it's okay, but I definitely want to steer clear of left. So 330 yards, I could take an iron, but for me, on this hole, I typically take a driver. I know I can somewhat control my drive, and today will be the day I put it across the road, but we're going to take a shot. We're going to play a few holes, like I said, and kind of guide you through things. So I got my driver here. We're going to step up and tee off here on number 10, see what we do, and we'll go up, find the ball, and then we'll discuss our next shot. So let's take a peek and see what happens here. All right, and that's a good start, right down the middle. So let's go take a look and see what our next shot is and what we have to deal with. All right, so after that drive, we've got ourselves placed here pretty well, right in the center of the fairway. To the pin, we're looking at about 67 yards, pretty flat in there. Front of the green's probably in the neighborhood of 40 yards. So about a 290 yard drive, which isn't bad considering the dew and not a lot of rollout today. So with this being 67 yards, I have a couple options. I carry a 64 degree wedge, which is usually a full swing for me. Somewhere in the neighborhood of around 85 yards is my carry distance. I could always cut back on that and try and flight one in there high and get it to sit and spin. The other option I have is to take my 60 and kind of hit a little 60-yard pitch shot, let it roll out a little bit, and see if we can't get it a little closer to the hole, get it down and get it rolling. So what I'm choosing to do is hit that pitch shot. Reason being is a couple things. A, it's hard to kind of club down, so to speak. So to take that 64 and take it from an 85-yard club down to a 60-yard club, I've got to cut back on my swing. I can't go back as far. And when you start to do that, that's where you can run into some issues where you may scull the ball, you may hit it fat. There's a few things you can do. At least with pitching it with my 60-degree wedge, even if I hit a bad shot, if I hit it fat, if I hit it thin, it's going to get up there, but it's not going to go beyond the green. It shouldn't go beyond the green. It should still leave me an easy shot. But, so we're going to take this pitch shot. Like I said, 60 yards is my plan. As we've talked about in the past, some of the pitch shots, I'm going to put the ball towards the back of my stance, and I'm just going to do shoulder turns. I'm not doing anything with my wrist. I don't want to do anything with my wrist because that's a little harder to control. You might get more spin and get it to stop, but if I take more of a putting stroke and go back further and keep those wrists locked, I can control the distance a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and hit this shot and see how we do. And again, I'm aiming for the middle of the green. Even though I've only got 60 yards, I still want to be putting. I don't want to be left, I don't want to be right, I don't want to be long. If anything, give myself a little chip short, but my landing target's middle of the green. And as I said, I hit it fat there. I chunked one out. That's why I used the pitch shot as opposed to my 64, because my 64, I wouldn't have got any run out with that at all. Using a pitch shot, I'm just on the very edge of the fringe right in front of the green. Got a little bit of a lengthy putt, but I can deal with that shot. So let's get up there and hit our next putt. All right, so here we are. We're literally about 2 feet off the front of the green. Like I said, I got a little fat there on that chip or punch shot there from 60 yards, but I'm still in a good spot. If I wanted to leave, if I had a bad shot and I wanted any leave, this is it, right in front of the green, not in the rough, up here on the fringe where I can still get a putt. Now, I probably got a good 60-foot putt, and that's okay. I can work on getting it up and down in two. Worst case scenario, it's a bogey. Some of you guys, you know, bogey golf's something you want to get to. These kind of shots, leaving yourself this leave instead of being in the rough where you have to chip it or something, this is what helps get you to bogey golf. So I've got this 60-foot putt. Knowing this green the way I do, and even if I didn't, it looks like it's going to break a little to the right, but it's also relatively flat. So we're going to give it a run, see if we can't get it up there somewhere within 5 feet or so is my hope, and give myself a good look at a par. So let's take this putt and see what we do. Good speed, just didn't give it enough break. I've probably got 5-6 feet in there to finish up for par. So I'm gonna grab you guys. It's gonna be a little shaky for a second, but we're gonna get up there and check out this par putt. All right, as I said, 5 or 6 feet or so for par. Not a bad approach coming from there. I just didn't give it enough break. So I had the right distance. I'm lined up perfectly with the hole. Good speed on that putt. Just want to read the break. Now on this putt, we're going to be moving right to left a little bit. And it's pretty flat. It's not really uphill, but it is right to left. So one of the things a lot of people miss is lining up the ball. And I'm gonna mark my spot here with my putter, but all balls have a little line on them to help line up your putt. So take advantage of that and use that line even for your drives. It'll help line up your driver a little bit and help get you where you want to be. So a little right to lefter, not a lot. And we're actually going into the grain a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit slower, but it's not super slow. And let's see if we can do this here. Oh, lip out. So that's a bogey. And for a lot of guys, a bogey's not a bad start. First hole of the day, I haven't warmed up. I'll take a bogey even though I hit a bad pitch shot. But as you can see, there's certain things you want to keep a focus on. That putt there didn't break as much as I thought. Might have something to do with some of the dew on the green still this morning, but it's a bogey. I'll take it. On to the next. All right, guys, on to number 11 here at my home course. It is a par 3, measuring about 183 to the center from the tips. For me, this is a 7-iron. It's slightly downhill, not a lot, but slightly downhill. The thing you got to recognize with this hole, and I know you guys can't really see the hole, is the landing area for the green. The pin's in the front today. The landing area is very, very small. It's very narrow to get in there. And then as you get to the back, the green opens up. Now to the right, I've got some room to miss to the right, but outside of the room to miss, which is about 10-15 yards or so, I've got some high grass, which is a definite lost ball. To the left, I've got a pretty wide open landing area if I miss, but it's the rough. So what's my play on this hole? 183, as I said, it's a 7-iron. Narrow entry into the green. Long is trouble. There's a grass bunker behind the green, and then over that's out of bounds. So my whole play and my whole plan with this hole is aim for the center of the green. I don't care where the pin is. I want center of the green to give myself a chance to putt. Any miss short is actually good because I've got fairway in front of the green. So I take 7-iron. I know that's usually good for me to get about to the center of the green here. If anything, I could drop down to an 8 and leave it short and miss some of the trouble. But we're gonna take the 7 and see if we can't put it in there somewhere reasonably close to 2-putt. And I'll take that. I pulled it just a little left, but it's on the fringe. The pin's kind of to the left. I think I'm putting, and I probably got about a 25-footer to get it close, but let's go down there and take a look. All right, everybody. So as you can see, my ball ended up about 1.5 feet into the fringe on the left. I've got a little ridge coming down here that I'm putting on, and I'm heading towards the flag there. It's going to be downhill a little bit, and it's going to want to turn. Believe it or not, it looks like it wants to turn to the left, but this hole actually runs from back to front, so it's deceiving. It actually does turn a little to the left, or should turn a little to the left. But this play I'm very happy with. Distance wise, I'm pretty close to what I wanted to be distance wise in regards to the flag. But if you remember on the tee, I said, if anything, I wanted to be short, and the front of the green is very, very narrow. Well, I want you guys to take a look at the front of this green. That's your entryway right there. You can see fairway in front of it, but you see that narrow entryway that's maybe 7 to 8 yards wide. That's why I said, if anything, leave it short, because then you have a nice little chip. Anything to the right over there is gone, and anything to the left over here, you've got a lot of area, and to the back is gone. So understanding where the miss is, and that's funny, the misses, understanding where the miss is a huge component to scoring well. I was lucky enough, I got a decent tee shot here, so we got a decent look for birdie, even though we're in the fringe. But again, if I was playing with someone else and they were worried about a miss, your miss is short, as I showed you. You don't want to be long, you don't want to be right. You can miss left, but with this pin position, it's hard. It's a hard chip. So we're going to take a run at this, see if we can't get it close for birdie. Might be able to get it to drop. If not, we want to leave it from this distance within about a 2-foot circle, give ourselves an easy tap in par. So let's see what we can do with this one. And not quite enough juice on it. Gave it a little too much to the left. We're gonna go tap this in for par. Par on a par 3 that's very, very difficult on this course. I would take that any day. All right, guys, last hole I'm gonna walk you through today. This will be the third hole of the video here, and this is the 12th hole on our course. This hole can be very, very deceiving. It looks like it's wide open when you're on the tee box, like you've got room to miss right and left. It's not the case. Left, there's a creek that runs left and out of bounds in the creek. It's not hard to get into that creek. Right, you can miss the fairway right, but then there's an issue of bringing trees into play on your approach shot. I have a tendency where I find myself behind those trees a lot, and that's something I don't want to do, but I also don't want to overcook it to the left. This is a par 4 that plays a 366 from the tips. I do want to take my driver and try and get it out there, but I don't want to try and do anything fancy. I want to give myself some room for error, so if it does go right, I'm still safe. I'm not losing the ball in some high grass to the right. If it goes left, I've got some room where it can slow down before it hits the creek. Driver on this hole, for a lot of people, it's a safe play. For some longer hitters, it can be an issue, especially if you do get right or left. But the whole goal of this tee shot for me is to just aim it right down the middle. See if I can't get it down the middle. And if I aim right down the middle, if it does want to move right or left, I've got some margin for error. Find the fairway and hopefully get to the green in 2. This is one of the harder holes on the course. It's very deceiving in terms of looks. It looks long. It doesn't necessarily play that long. It looks like it's open. It's not necessarily open. There's some room to miss, but not a ton of room. So thinking through things, I know I want to hit my tee shot. I want to aim it down the middle, and hopefully I can put it in that 150 area, if not a little bit further, to give myself a shot. Trying to avoid trees, trying to avoid water. So let's see what we do with this tee shot here. All right, I think I'm okay. I did lose it just a hair right, but I think I'm all right. I don't think I have the trees to worry about. I might have just barely missed the fairway, but let's go take a peek, see what we're at, and see what we got left to play. All right, so here's what we're left with. I'm just inside 150, probably about 140 to the center of the green. Just missed the right edge of the fairway, sitting in the first cut of right rough. This green's fairly large for our course. It's not as large as some of the greens you see on tour, but this green for us is fairly large. Everything on this green is front to back. We have a severe slope in the middle of this green that pushes everything back down to the front. As you guys can see, there is some tree trouble, but I lucked out to where that shouldn't affect my shot unless I do something really stupid. Left, I got plenty of room left now that we're down here. I don't have the creek as much in play. So the whole goal here, 148 out, or 140 out or so. You know, the ball's kind of sitting down in the rough a little bit. I'm not going to get as much carry out of this ball. A little bit more run, but not as much carry just with the lie. My 150 club's my pitching wedge. My gap wedge is 135. I'm actually going to take my pitching wedge, choke down on it a little bit, try and cut some of the distance off using some of those distance control videos that are out there for you guys. The pin's cut right on top of the ridge, so if I'm short, I'm okay. If I'm long, it's going to give me an issue coming back with the putt where I may have to come, and if I go long, I may be back down the hill, which is where I don't want to be. So I'm going to try and go at the center of the green, and if anything, leave it a little short of that ridge so I have an uphill putt as opposed to putting back towards the hill where it can go down. So let's see what we can do here and see if we can't get it somewhere on that lower tier. and I think we achieved just that. I'm right on the front of the green, which means I've got an uphill putt to the pin, which is a better putt than coming back and having the potential to roll down the hill. Now you're 3 or 4 putting. I've got a nice uphill putt for my third shot, hoping to leave it close. Let's go take a look. All right, everyone. So what we're looking at, and I'm sure you guys can tell, is we've got a nice uphill putt. I'm gonna have to give it a little bit of oomph to get it up there. This green also is sloping from my right to my left. So I've got my target picked out almost 10 feet to the right of this pin and this flag location. But this is actually kind of where I wanted to be. I could have carried the ball. I didn't realize the pin was off that ridge as much as it is. There's a chance I could have went up a club and carried it or hit my full pitching wedge in here to try and carry the ridge, but it was a risk I didn't want to take. It's a risk that I didn't need to take. If I can get in here and get up and down, it's a nice, easy par. On this hole, sometimes even bogey's a good score because of the green and because of, you know, what you have in play with the water and some of the trees. So I'm happy with this shot. I'm on the green, I'm putting, that's where I wanna be. That's one of the things a lot of guys don't understand is they think they have to pin hunt every hole. You don't. If you can get on in regulation, get on a par 4 and 2, get on a par 3 and 1, get on a par 5 and 3, and give yourself a chance to 2-putt for par, that's a great way to lower scores. So I'm gonna give this a shot and see if we can't make this birdie putt. My goal with this one is to try and leave it within 5 feet. If I can leave it within 5 feet, that gives me a good chance at a par. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, go in, come on. Oh. That's all right, I will take that. And we're gonna walk up. I'm not gonna cut because I want you guys to see how severe uphill this was. So if you guys can see, this is actually a pretty good uphill putt. And so for me to leave it where I did, I'm very, very happy. It's right around that 5-foot mark that I wanted to. I didn't quite get it there. Didn't give it enough speed here this morning. That seems to be an issue with me here in the morning. But we got a pretty good look at par. It's a nice little 3.5, 4 footer somewhere in there. So right in that range I wanted to. It is uphill. It's going to turn right to left. And we're going to see if we can't knock this in and get out of here with our par. And I pulled it left. But that's okay, guys. You know, the thing I want you guys to take out of this, I went 2 over in 3 holes that you've watched. That's not bad. There's still holes I can go score. Par 5s I've got available. I've got some easier par 3s, some easier par 4s that I can go score on. A couple of these holes are actually some of the harder ones we have on the course. So playing them the right way and getting out of here with a par or a bogey is a good score. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give yourselves a little look into what needs to happen with the mental side of the game as you approach each shot, what you need to look at, what factors you need to take in, and hopefully you guys can implement some of these things into your game, help lower your scores, and start shooting better, especially with those single length irons and being consistent. That's going to help you as well. If you guys have any questions on this, have any comments, by all means, check us out at singlelengthschool.com. Give us a contact, shoot an email out through there. Over on Facebook or Instagram at Single Length School. Over on Twitter at One Length School. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Guys, we appreciate everybody watching. We love having you guys. Glad we can do something like this for you. And if you enjoy this, let us know. We can do more of these in the future. So let us know, give us your feedback. And one thing that's very important to remember is size matters. Choose single length. Thanks a lot, guys. This is Craig, and we'll talk to you soon.